Hi guys, so the next step is to test the prosthetic. So I did it on a silicone skin, so this one is the Bergman FX one. And it's a nice thing to do if you have the time, because if there's anything wrong with the prosthetic, like you're not happy with the detail or you think you can go a little bit deeper or add more texture, then testing it will basically show you what you need to do. And you still have the sculpture, so you can go back to your sculpture and you can just fix it on the sculpt and then make a new mold. So let me show you how we did this. Here are my two silicone skins. This one is the medium and the other one is pale. We're going to use the pale one to test because we use a pale skin color for the prosthetic. And then we're going to use some translucent powder, prosthetic cream, final seal, cotton buds, powder puff, and we're going to put our acetone in here. And I've also got a little stipple sponge over there. I'm going to use prosthetic to stick the wound to the skin. So before we do that, we just decide where we're going to place the wound. And then on the back of the prosthetic with a cotton bud, I put a little bit of prosthetic and then also on the skin. So I'm doing it in the middle of the prosthetic first because you just want to anchor it in the middle. You don't want to put glue all over it and all over the skin and then just plonk the two together, because you'll get lots of creases and air bubbles doing it this way. Also with prosthetic, you have to make sure that the glue is completely dry. There can't be any white residue. So before the prosthetic and the skin touch, it has to be clear. So I'm anchoring that in the middle and then I'm working my way around. And again, just making sure that the glue on the prosthetic is dry and also on the skin is dry before I put them together. And then I just smooth it through with my fingers. This is a super time-consuming process, but you have to take your time with this. Do not put the prosthetic together if it's still white. You can use a little fan or a hairdryer, but I will say just be careful of the power of these things, because sometimes if the power is too strong, it can blow the cap plastic and then everything just gets stuck together. That has happened to me a few times, so I just do it super slowly. And it's always nice to have an extra pair of hands to help you if you're struggling with this. The cap plastic for this prosthetic is acetone based, so we're going to be using acetone to blend away the edges. Just be very careful when using acetone not to get too much on someone's skin, as this can be quite dangerous. Next, we're going to blend away the flashing. So how we do this is we take a little cotton bud and then we put a little bit of acetone on there. You don't want to saturate your bud with a lot of acetone. You just want enough on there just to blend away the flashing and also just blend some of that cap plastic into the skin. We're then doing the same with the second prosthetic, gluing it, drying it, and then also again removing the flashing with acetone and a cotton bud. And then we are blending the little edges into the skin. Now that they're both stuck on, the next stage is to take a little bit of prosthetic cream on a stipple sponge, and we're stippling around the edges where the cap plastic ends and where the skin begins. And we do this just to hide any edges and to give the illusion that there's no prosthetic on the skin. So take your time with this again, make sure that there's no edges showing. And again, this is prosthetic cream, so you have to make sure that it's completely dry, no white residue. Once it's clear, you then put a little bit of translucent powder on, and then we seal it with a sealer. And then once that's done, they are ready. They're ready to be coloured. We can add some blood and some wound filler, and I'll show you guys how to do that in my next video.